Guys, most men are low on energy, zombies, can't focus, and they think it's because of lack of caffeine. Maybe they're working too hard, maybe their sleep. But this is the reason why a lot of you guys are getting energy crashes in the middle of the day. So, me personally, when I started bulking up, I started adding in loads of carbs. I was eating massive meals, big meals. Okay. And I wasn't pairing them or combining them with much protein or fats. Now, first of all, you might wake up and you have Cocoa Pops. That's it. Cocoa Pops, milk, no protein, a bullshit carbohydrate source, which is filled with things that are going to disrupt your testosterone. They're going to lower your energy. And they're also going to lead to less muscle growth. But we're going to keep it focused on energy, your energy crashes. So, first of all, these Cocoa Pops, right, alone are going to spike your blood sugar quickly. And there are a lot of bodybuilders nowadays preaching, yeah, Cocoa Pops before workouts. I wonder if I can actually zoom in here. No, I can't. I'll bring you closer though. Bring you closer to educate you. So, a lot of bodybuilders are preaching Cocoa Pops and protein powder, right? And although the protein will kind of help with the spike, right? This is terrible for your gut. This is terrible for your overall health, terrible for your hormones, your testosterone. So this is going to lead into you having lower energy. But this isn't the main problem here. The main problem, you having, in fact, the main problem that I'm talking about, because this is just as big of a problem, but when you're having Cocoa Pops with no protein, no fats, your blood sugar is just spiking quickly. You've got nothing to smooth that out. Protein and fats paired with the carbs are going to slow the digestion and they're not going to spike the blood sugar as quickly. Now, make this first change. Stop having big amounts of carbohydrates with no protein or fats. Second of all, when you are having these big meals, say it's the bagel, the Cocoa Pops, you're having it in big portions, right? Large amounts of carbohydrates, and then you're going to work. That is going to make you crash. Like I say, the blood sugar, it spikes everything in your fucking body, right? Carbohydrates, they spike everything. And what spikes up also comes down immediately, like that, right? Sorry. I said immediately, not immediately, eventually. So, you might have your big bowl of Cocoa Pops or your bagels in the morning, then you go to work. A few hours later, a couple of hours later, you're like, why do I feel tired? Oh, it must be because I'm working too hard. No, it's not. It's because you haven't had protein and fats with that food. Now, foods like bagels and Cocoa Pops are bad for your testosterone, bad for your health, bad for your gut, and all of these things link into energy. So if you just choose some cleaner carbohydrate sources, they're going to help. But even with the cleaner carbohydrate sources, I'll give you a few just now: sweet potato, potato, white rice. Simple, right? If you want some fast releasing carbs, 30, 60 minutes before a workout, get some fruit in. Apples, bananas. But even if you're having these clean carbs, now you can have these clean carbs alone. I would still have them with protein before a workout, and it's not going to be as bad. You're not going to get a crash because you're going to be working out. And I kind of lost my train of thought there, guys. I don't actually script any of these videos at all off the dome. But yeah, you need to pair the protein with carbohydrates and fats, and you also need to have clean carbohydrate sources because your bagels, your Cocoa Pops aren't good for you, going to mess up your energy. And then I got onto the topic of working out. So typically, you want to have your biggest meals before or after, or before and after your workout. Personally, I need to get 4,300 calories in a day. And what I do is have a relatively big meal 90 minutes before a workout, and then right after I've finished that workout, I have 1,000 calories of food straight after. But what I do, I go on a walk, relatively long walk, do some work on my phone, and I let that food digest. I walk to help digestion and to also keep me moving so I'm not sat down and put myself at risk of an energy crash. Now, place your carbs, clean carbs, before your workouts, after your workouts. That will prevent the energy crash. In the morning, do not have massive amounts of carbohydrates. You're better off having something like oats, berries, protein powder. I usually preach unflavoured, right? Much better for you, much better for your gut, much better for testosterone. Mixed berries, honey, maybe some dark chocolate. Stick that in the microwave. Not a massive portion, by the way, guys. Not a huge portion. Eat that and then go to work. That's going to be so much better. It's going to give you a slower energy release throughout the day. It's not going to give you a massive spike. And it's got a mixture of slow releasing carbohydrates, fast releasing carbohydrates, slow releasing carbohydrates being from your oats, fast being from your mixed berries and your honey. But the protein and the fat and the protein powder and the dark chocolate is going to smooth that out. So that's the blueprint to you not getting an energy crash, and it's actually much simpler than you guys think. Now, for the guys who are bulking, you need to do this exact thing. I would usually leave a few hours of fasting for your like highest priority tasks, 4-hour fasting between your post-workout meal and your nighttime meal, and then 2-3 hours before bed, boom, just load as many calories as you can. As many calories as you can. You are going to get a bit of a crash, but you've done everything that you need to do anyways. And that's how you mix the two between gaining muscle and also being focused, optimizing for high performance. Now, if you're kind of stuck on what to do, I am literally about to open up a few slots for a course that I made on diet optimized for testosterone, energy, and performance. If you want to get your hands on this guide, if you want to get your hands on this course, not this guide, DM me on Instagram, Tony MC Coaching. If you want to work with me one-to-one directly, message me on WhatsApp 07835 261 491, and we can change your life, get rid of the energy crashes, and show you what we do in 2.0 coaching. Have a good rest of your day, guys. Hope this provided you with some value.